All right, thank you, Nicole. Hi, everyone. My name is Megan, and I work for Craft Express. I am a sublimation expert. A few things I want to get out of the way before we start. One is I am not showing you a project today. Today is all about you asking the questions that you have about sublimation and me answering them. I'm going to give you a brief overview of what sublimation is because I'm sure most of you are beginners. So please, in the chat, let me know if you are familiar with sublimation or not, and start sending in your questions now because my goal is to get to every single one of them. On top of that, I just want to give a fair warning that I am 9 months pregnant and it takes me a lot to breathe at this point. So just if I stop for a second to catch my breath or take a sip of water, bear with me, please, and we're going to try to get through this. So I'm going to quickly pop up a slide for you all to take a look at. It describes who Craft Express is. It's going to describe what sublimation is. I'll read through it for you all and explain it, and then we will hop into those questions. I see that we have some already coming in, so that is amazing. So give me 1 second here while I get into presentation mode and start sharing my screen. All right. Here we go. So first things first, you might be wondering, okay, who in the world is Craft Express and why should I listen to them? So we are a crafting supply company and we deal with sublimation blanks, we deal with heat presses, we also do vinyl, DTF, laser engraving, and other crafting accessories, but sublimation is our main bread and butter. Between my boss and myself, we are both sublimation experts. We both previously worked for Sawgrass, who is one of the leaders in sublimation printing. That's all I can say about Sawgrass in this conversation. So just if you have questions about Sawgrass, I can answer a few of them, but when it comes to comparing it to other printers, I really can't do that. So I apologize in advance. But between the two of us, we have more than 20 years of experience in the sublimation world. So that goes not only for knowing about sublimation, being able to teach sublimation, but also being able to teach people how to run a sublimation business. And then some of you who are new to sublimation may be wondering, okay, this is a crazy word that sounds very intimidating. What does it mean? Well, in these scientific terms, sublimation is the process of when a solid changes to a gas, skipping the liquid phase. In our case, that solid is the ink that is printed from a sublimation printer onto sublimation paper, and it is sublimation ink. And it is the process of after you print out your design, adhering it to a blank item that is covered in polyester, and then using the proper time, temperature, and pressure from a heat press to make the ink transfer from that sheet of paper into the polyester coating of your blank substrate. So whether that's a mug or a tumbler, a polyester t-shirt, I'm trying to think. There are hundreds of items that you can use here, as long as they're coated in polyester. We have baby wear, dog wear, kitchen accessories, etc. So that is what the sublimation process is and how it works. So I'm going to now stop sharing my screen because I see that we are getting some questions coming in the chat, and I'm going to go right from this to answering those questions, and I'm going to try to do all of them, or at least as many as possible. So let me quickly stop sharing. All right. Let's take a look here at the question. Some people are saying congratulations on the pregnancy. Thank you. I see we have a lot of new people who are here who've never done sublimation before, and a lot of people anxious to learn. So that is incredibly exciting. So the first question we have here is how durable is the pattern that you apply with sublimation? So I'm guessing this question is, if I sublimate an item, will this design that I sublimated on the item come off? And the answer is no. Sublimation is a permanent form of decorating. So when you transfer your ink from your sublimation paper using the proper time, temperature, and pressure onto a polyester coated blank, and that's the key, it has to be coated in polyester. That design is into that coating forever. It will never wash off, it will never crack, fade, or peel because it is a permanent part of that item now. Sorry, my dog is in the room here. All right, so that's the question, that's the answer to that question. Let's see. So this is a great question. Someone says they don't know anything about sublimation, but they would love a full one-on-one on what materials to use and what you need in order to get started in sublimation. So let's go over that. So first things first is you will need a sublimation printer. And that is a printer that is made for sublimation. Now there are people who do convert Epson printers into sublimation printers. And yes, that can be done. Here's my warning on doing that. Sublimation ink and traditional ink that you use to print onto paper are two very different types of ink. Sublimation ink is thicker than regular ink. The molecules that make up the liquid of sublimation ink are thicker, and the odds of them getting trapped into the piping of a printer and the print head of a printer is more likely when the printer is not made to accommodate those larger molecules. So that is why we always recommend going with a sublimation printer. And there are a lot of companies that make sublimation printers specifically for sublimation. So that's number one, you need a sublimation printer. Number two is you need sublimation ink. Number three is you need sublimation paper. So going down to, Office Depot and buying just some printer paper is not going to work. It needs to be a paper that is made to withstand the heat of a heat press and is made to carry the sublimation ink that is printed onto it. So sublimation printer, sublimation ink, sublimation paper. There's three different categories of things that you need. So there's one. The next is a heat press. Depending on what you want to make, you're going to need a heat press that can make the item that you plan on making. So if you want to make mugs, you're going to need a mug or tumbler press. And this is a great example of a tumbler press. It is shaped to hold drinkware. If you were to put a mug into a flat press, that really wouldn't go over too well because it won't be able to encapsulate all of the item. If you're looking to make something like t-shirts or oven mitts, you're going to need to use a flat press, whether that is a handheld one like the one you see here, or one that is a clamshell press. It needs to be something that lays flat and can press the item. Now, what's also important is that you have a press that can accommodate the size of the item that you want to sublimate onto. So for example, this is a tumbler. This is a mug press. This mug press cannot accommodate this tumbler because the tumbler is too tall for it. So we would have to press this once and then press it upside down to try to potentially get this full wrap design on this tumbler. So it's important that you know what you want to make and that you get the proper equipment in order to make it. And then last but not least, you need to have polyester coated blanks. So that is why we recommend going through a sublimation blanks dealer such as Craft Express, which is sold at Michael's. When it comes to sublimation, when that ink becomes a gas, the polyester coating on this tumbler open up like a Venus flytrap. And those gaseous molecules have nowhere to go and they start making their way into the polyester coating. When the heat from the heat press is taken away, those the polyester closes up like a Venus flytrap, trapping the ink inside. And that is why this design will never come off, crack, fade, or peel. It's because the polyester is holding on to that ink. So that is why you need a polyester coated blank. Now, I'm sure someone is going to ask, so I'm going to answer it ahead of time. Can I coat my item in polyester myself? And the answer is we really don't recommend it. And the reason for that is because if you want to have this full color design without any fading and have it all look even, the blank item has to be evenly coated in the same amount of polyester all the way around. It's very difficult to do that on your own. That's why going through a sublimation blanks dealer is the proper way to go. So one more time, wrapping it all up, what you need to get started in sublimation is a sublimation printer, sublimation ink, sublimation paper, polyester coated blanks, and a heat press that can accommodate that blank. We also recommend that you use heat tape, and it helps to secure your transfer around your item for pressing. It is different from the Scotch tape that you use to wrap your Christmas gifts, because the Scotch tape you use to wrap your Christmas gifts will melt in a heat press. So heat tape will not melt in a heat press, and you won't have any troubles. So I know that was a very long-winded response, but hopefully everyone was able to understand it. So someone is asking about converting an Epson printer for sublimation. That is something that, once again, I have never done. I don't recommend doing, but it is possible. Someone's got a great question. What is a great printer for sublimation that is affordable? Unfortunately, I'm unable to speak to that, having previously worked with Sawgrass. I will say that Sawgrass makes a great printer, so does Brother, and so does Epson. So I would look at those three and kind of do some price comparisons. Oh, Stevie has a fantastic question. Can you sublimate on cotton t-shirts? And the answer is no. You cannot do traditional sublimation on cotton t-shirts. And that circles back to what we just talked about when it comes to polyester and how polyester closes around the molecules of the sublimation ink after heat has been added to it over a certain amount of time with a certain amount of pressure. What happens is cotton doesn't do that. Cotton doesn't open up and trap those ink molecules. So what's going to happen is you might get a little faint, when you first press, you might see a faint view of your design on your cotton t-shirt. The second it goes in the wash, it all comes off because it's not being held onto by those molecules. We recommend that you use at least 50-50 polyester blend, whether that's a 50-50 cotton polyester blend or polyester with another type of material, but we recommend at least 50-50. What's going to happen is the less polyester you have, the more diluted and washed out your design will look, because that is fewer polyester fabrics to hold on to those molecules. So less and less of that ink is being held on to. So that is why we recommend more polyester, the better. And we also recommend, and I'm sure this question is going to come up, so I'll answer it ahead of time, white or light colored materials. That is because sublimation inks are transparent, I guess. I bet a lot of you did not know that. Polyester, sublimation inks are transparent. With sublimation, you cannot print the color white. So sublimation printers are CMYK. cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. And you will use those colors to make other colors, but guess what? Those colors together cannot make white. So this tumbler, for example, started off white. All the white that you see within this design is not printed white. This is the absence of color from the design that we printed. So this is just an area where nothing was printed. So if this was a light pink, if the base of this tumbler had been light pink and then we printed on it, you would notice that all this white spot would be light pink and all the other colors would be tinted based off of what they look like when mixed with light pink. So that's why we recommend white or light colors, because that will help you to achieve the proper colors that you are actually going for when printing. All right. Whew, give me a second here. So someone asked, is it possible to have any amount of cotton in the fabric for sublimation? And like I said, I'd recommend no more than 50% cotton. So Ryan asked, how effective are the spray coating on other materials that are not polyester? Ryan, I just would not recommend it, and that is because there's a chance for unevenness, and it's going to cause you to potentially not have the same amount of vibrancy and brightness and color in the areas that you want on your blank. And what's going to happen is you're going to end up probably spending more money trying to get it right than if you would just to buy the proper blanks outright. So someone says, I've seen sublimation done on wood. Do you have to spray the wood or do something else? And the answer is you would buy a pre-polyester coated piece of wood that is made for sublimation in order to sublimate onto wood. Let's see. So someone says, I want to sublimate on plates, but the whole plate, not just the center of the plate. How would I do that? Would you use an oven? And the answer is yes, you could use an oven for that. Here's the problem with sublimating on something such as a plate. Plates go like this. And even in an oven, that's going to be difficult to achieve an all over sublimation look, because these ridges right here that go between the lowest part of the plate and take you up to the higher part of the plate are steeper than they appear. So you will not be able to probably get an all over look, but you'll be able to get probably the top half and the middle, and those ridges you probably won't be able to get even in an oven. I would also just want to throw out that not every sublimation plate is made to be eaten off of. So if you do make a sublimation plate and you want to use it for decoration, that's great. If you're looking at using a sublimation plate for eating off of, I would just recommend that whatever blanks provider you purchase that from, you make sure that it is coated properly to be used safely with food, because not all of them are. And that's my big recommendation on that. And when talking about an oven, because I realized this is the first time I've talked about using an oven, I'm referring to a crafting oven, a crafting convection oven. Now, we sell those. There are other companies that sell them as well. You can also just use a convection oven that you find at Target or Walmart as well, in order to do convection oven sublimation. My only recommendation is, once you've used the oven for sublimation, do not use it for food. Because those ink molecules are kind of in that air at that point, and you don't want to cross-contaminate ink with food. So if you are to purchase an oven that is not a made for crafting convection oven, but a convection oven that's actually made for cooking that you use for crafting, be sure you do not also use it for cooking. And then when using an oven, we also recommend that you use shrink wrap. And that's because when it's in that convection mode, the convection is circulating heat, but it's also circulating pressure. And to help make sure that your blank item has a consistent, correct amount of pressure, we recommend sliding your blank that is wrapped in your transfer into a shrink wrap sleeve. That way it tightens up around your blank and ensures that you are getting the proper amount of pressure the entire time that you are pressing. Debbie has a fantastic question. Is infusible ink different from sublimation? And the answer is no, it is not. Infusible ink just has a more fun name. So infusible ink from a lot of other companies, from what I've seen, are either paints, markers, or sheets of pre-printed ink designs. And we offer those as well. So that is, they are, how do I put this? They are markers, paints, and pre-printed out sheets of sublimation ink that can all be used for sublimation. So that's one half of sublimation. So if you are a beginner and you don't know if you want to invest in all the equipment of sublimation, that is a great gateway into sublimation. There's also the investing in the printer portion of sublimation. The difference between this and the pre-made up sheets of ink, the markers, the paints, is that you can design something on your computer and print it through here. Or if you have a photograph of somebody that you want to put on a mug, you can do that with the printer. You can't achieve that using the markers or the paints or the pre-made up sheets that have the sublimation ink in them. So it's less about them being different and more about what you can achieve with each. And it's just a different level of sophistication in sublimation, if you will. Ooh, I love this question from Abby. So she wants to know, are the times, temps, and pressures the same for all types of equipment? I have an HTV auto press, but I also have a handheld press. So Abby, when it comes to time, temperature, and pressure, it has nothing to do with the equipment and everything to do with the blank. So what time, temperature, and pressure you use depends on what your blank polyester coated item is made out of, because different materials heat at different times and pressures. So let's give a great example. I'm bringing my tumbler back. This tumbler, I would press at 385 degrees for 2 minutes. A mug, this ceramic mug, I would press for 392 degrees for 3.5 minutes. And that is because this is stainless steel. It conducts heat a lot faster than ceramic, and it is a much thinner material than ceramic. Because of that, we don't need as much time or heat. This ceramic is thicker, so it takes more time and more heat for the ink to fully transfer. T-shirts, for example, 385 degrees for 45 seconds. It's a very thin material. It's not a heat conductor. Very quickly, it can be pressed. We have a list of our recommended time, temperatures, and pressures for every item that we sell. I will post that onto our Facebook page tomorrow. I realize that I have not given that to Michael's, and that is on me. If I have time at the end of all of this to quickly hop into my web browser and find it, I will post it into the comments. I don't want to derail right now because I want to get through as many questions as possible. But like I said, every material has its own time, temperature, and pressure to adhere to. The only difference is when you're using an oven. Ovens, because it's a cavity and not a direct touch, require more time. So while this in a tumbler press is 2 minutes, it's 8 minutes in an oven. But we have that different time, temperature, and pressure. We have all of it in this list. So I'll make sure that it at least gets posted tomorrow. If I have time at the end of this, I'll try to carve out 5 minutes to find it and post it in the chat. Let's see. Um, okay, so this is a great question. Is there any safety equipment needed around the heating of these elements? Additionally, any odors or off-gassing concerns? And that is a fantastic question. So when it comes to safety equipment, we just recommend that you use an oven mitt. We do sell an oven mitt, but really even one that you just use downstairs in your oven is fine to use. It's just to keep your hands from burning. And then any odors, you'll probably notice when you first start pressing a little bit of a burnt rubber odor. And that's just because when you are first using a heat press for the first time and it's first activating and the heat is up against the coating of it, it's just going to burn. It's just going to smell a little bit burnt. It will go away over time. It doesn't smell every time you use it. And then off gassing, there is a chance always that some of the ink molecules will escape from the piece of paper and not be caught onto your blank item. And it's just like little itty bitty bits. That's why we always just recommend using parchment paper or butcher paper around or on top of your item. So go item, transfer sheet, then butcher paper. And that's really just to keep your heat press from getting any excess ink on it that could then reactivate later on and be pressed onto your next item that you're working with. It's nothing that's an actual safety concern. Let's see. Do t-shirts have to be 100% polyester? The answer is no, but the more polyester, the better, because it'll look more vibrant. Is it possible to have any amount of cotton in the fabric? I would say no more than 50%. Let's see. So Marla wants to know, what is the process for sublimating tumblers? So let's quickly go over that. So what I would do is I would print a design from my computer onto my sublimation printer that has its sublimation ink and its sublimation paper loaded into it. I would then take my blank tumbler, wrap my transfer around it, and then use heat tape down the back to adhere the paper to my tumbler. I would then place it in my tumbler press. I would make it so that there was a little bit of friction when closing my tumbler press, but it's not too difficult to close. I would press it at 385 degrees for 60 seconds. I would then open my press, slightly rotate my tumbler about 90 degrees, and then close it again for another 60 seconds. And that's because that is the best way to achieve an all over sublimation. When you are working with tumblers in a tumbler press, there's always going to be a little bit of an opening at the very top. That means there's a small portion of this tumbler that's not getting the proper time, temperature, and pressure when being pressed. So to avoid that area being faded, you rotate your tumbler halfway through and then press again so that you get a full even press all the way around. So that is how I would press a tumbler. for sublimation. What's a good tumbler press? I definitely recommend our Craft Express tumbler press. Nancy said that she got a tumbler press from Craft Express. It works amazing. Let's see. Caitlin, there is a Sawgrass question here that I will answer because it's not comparing it to anything else. She's asking, since I have a Sawgrass, do I have to buy Sawgrass ink even if my warranty has expired? And Caitlin, the answer is yes, and that is because there is a piece of technology in the Sawgrass printer that will detect when you're using non-Sawgrass ink, and it's going to put a watermark on your print. So you should use Sawgrass ink, otherwise your printer is going to be useless. Um, can you use the markers on the Cricut or can you use the printer? Elvia, I'm not exactly sure what question you're asking. If you could be a little bit more specific, I'd be happy to help you. Someone wants to know if Craft Express has t-shirt or sweatshirt blanks, and the answer is no, we do not. Let's see. I've got one of our cheerleaders, Sherry, is talking about Craft Express and saying how great it is. Thank you, Sherry. Love Sherry. Okay, Melissa, why do some transfers look faded? Is it the amount of time, not enough heat that I used? So, Melissa, that is a fantastic question that I can semi-answer for you. So, there could be a number of things that could be wrong. One, it could be that there's not enough polyester in your item. So if say you're using a 50-50 cotton polyester blend t-shirt and it looks faded, it's because you don't have enough polyester. Now, if you're using a 100% polyester coated blank, then that's not the problem. It could be that you're not using enough time or enough pressure. I would recommend always looking up for each item that you purchase what the company who you purchase it from recommends for the time and the pressure for that item and follow their rules. And unfortunately, that's the only answer I can give you because it's going to be one or the other, or it could be both. But I can't give you any specifics without knowing what item you're pressing, what heat you're pressing it at, and what time you're pressing it at. So if you're still in here, you want to tell me in the comments, let me know and I can solve that problem for you. So Elvia wants to know, to make a personalized design, what app do we need to use? And the answer is you can use just about any design tool. So you can use Photoshop or Canva or a design tool that comes with the printer that you purchase. All that matters is that you find a way to get your design from that design tool to your printer. And I would recommend a color rip software to make sure that when the computer talks to your printer, it's sending the same signal as to what color needs to be printed. So for example, with the Sawgrass, it comes with its own color rip software automatically, and it has its own design software. So technically you could design and print all in Sawgrass's little universe. But if you don't want to use their design software, or if you want to use a different printer, there are other options like Canva and Photoshop and Adobe to design in and then print through. Let's see. So Phyllis wants to know, how do I use the correct measurements? And I would recommend checking to see if the company that you purchase your blanks through, if they have a pre-measured out template on their website that they recommend that you use when designing for that item. I know we do on ours. Some other blanks distributors do as well, but not all. You can also use a tape measure to measure the width of an item and the length, and then input that into your Canva or your Photoshop and design that way. Or with the Sawgrass, if you're using a design software, I know Brother and Sawgrass both have design softwares. Some of them have preloaded what's it called, measurements for blanks you can use that as well. So, fantastic question, Valerie. Can you reuse the butcher paper? And the answer is it depends. If your butcher paper is clean, as in you don't see any sort of ink on there or any little faded look of your design that you just pressed on there, then yeah, you can use it again. I generally say try not to, but I get that, you want to make everything stretch as far as possible. If you see, so if you press an item, you pull the butcher paper away and you see a faint design of the item you just pressed, do not use that. And that's because it can cause what we call ghosting. And no, I'm not talking about a dating app and what people do to each other. I'm talking about when you see a design. So if I were to put that butcher paper back on and press my next item, I could potentially see my bright, beautiful, lovely design on my item, and then just shifted to the side of it, a little faint look of the item of the design I pressed beforehand. That's what's called ghosting. When you can kind of see like two designs at once, and one is incredibly faded behind or next to one that is nice, bright, and vibrant. That means you've ruined your project. So I would always recommend fresh butcher paper if you can do it. If you're trying to stretch things, just make sure that there is no previous design on that butcher paper when you're using it. So Ryan, my bad. Great question. Do you have to cut the edges of the paper before you put it on the tumbler? And the answer is it just depends on how large your design is. So my print and your paper. So my printer prints 8.5 by 11. This tumbler will take about 9.5 by, I want to say 7. Don't quote me on the dimensions. But regardless, what I'm trying to say is you're going to have a white border around it. So in this case, if I'm trying to achieve an all over design, then yes, I would cut the edges of the paper off because otherwise they're going to overlap each other and I'm going to get some white. If I just had one stationary design on here and nothing else, let me see if I can, oh, here we go. Like this right here. This is one stationary design. I don't really have to cut up this paper if I don't want to because it's just one design. So it just depends on how big your paper is, what product you're using, and if there's any white space left over. Okay, Stacy, fantastic question. I've seen videos of people using something called DTF transfer film. When do you use film versus sublimation paper in your printer? So the answer is DTF printing and sublimation printing, two totally different printings, two totally different printers, two totally different inks. They do not go hand in hand with one another. Now, I think I've heard that there are some workarounds to put the DTF film into your sublimation printer. I don't want to hear it. No, don't do it. That film is not designed to go through this type of printer. So A, you have a better chance of a paper jam, and B, that ink is not designed to be carried onto a film. DTF ink is designed to be carried onto the DTF film. This ink is designed to be carried on sublimation paper. So two totally different things, two totally, like, don't cross wires on this, just do them separately. And then I will just go a step further and just quickly talk about when I would recommend using DTF as its own thing and when I recommend using sublimation as its own thing. So if you're trying to print a design onto a dark color cotton shirt, DTF is the way to go because it prints white and it goes onto a film and it transfers onto that dark material. If you want, but the thing with DTF is it's way more expensive, the printer is much bigger, and you're going to feel it on your shirt. If you want to go a cheaper route, it doesn't need to be a dark shirt, for example. It can be polyester and sublimate, and you don't want to feel your design on your shirt, or you want to sublimate, a bunch of different items. Sublimation is the way to go. So they're just two very different forms of printing that give you two very different outcomes. We will be offering a DTF printer this year, and we'll be talking more about DTF in the future, but do not mix the two. Let's see. Ooh, Audra, I love this. Can you overheat an item? The answer is yes, you can. And it's not in like a horrible way where, if you heat something way too long, yes, the item itself can get mangled because, heat will do that to something over time. But if you're talking about like overheating an item as in how it will look, the answer is yes. So a great example of that is the color black. When black is cooked too long, it will come out actually looking brown. When the color black is not cooked long enough, it will come out looking green. So we like to say if it's brown, it's burnt. So if you see these colors, they are achieved because they were cooked for the proper amount of time, temperature, and pressure. If I were to cook this too long, there is a chance that, this orange could become too dark, or, this purple ends up looking more black than it looks purple. So obviously, when it comes to sublimation printing, achieving the proper color is important. So yes, it is possible to overcook an item. That's why we just recommend following the recommended time, temperature, and pressure for the item that you're working with. Ooh, God, that's so many great questions. Okay, Stephanie wants to know, how do you correct ghosting on mugs, especially around words? Stephanie, the answer to that question is you throw it in the garbage because there is no way to correct it. Unfortunately, when it comes to ghosting, or really any mistake that is made on a sublimated item, there is no way to correct it. And that's because sublimation is a permanent form of decorating. So you might be going, oh, wow, what am I potentially getting myself into? We recommend that when you first get into sublimation, you order 10% more product than you plan on working with. And that is because you're going to make mistakes and you can't correct those mistakes. So we recommend you order more so that in the learning process, you have the ability to correct those mistakes. You have the ability to learn from those mistakes, especially if you're trying to start a sublimation business as you learn, which please don't do. Please don't do that. Please learn first and then start a sublimation business. But there's always people who want to do both at the same time. So we just recommend ordering slightly more product so you have the ability to make mistakes and still have enough product to get done the projects that you need to get done. Are there certain formats to save a file as and certain print specifications? Audra, that really depends on the printer that you are using. So I'm going to defer you to whatever printer company you end up going with. Some will print PNGs, JPEGs, SVGs. Some have more restrictions. It really just depends. So someone says, I use Teflon papers with my press. Is that okay? And the answer is yes. Teflon paper is another form of like blowout paper, but it's thicker. And a lot of more like small businesses use Teflon. Can we use Design Space for personalized designs to sublimate? So the answer is you can design in Design Space as long as you can get the design from Design Space to your printer. And that's going to depend on what printer you use. So I recommend reaching out to your printer company in order to figure that out, or going on YouTube, because I'm sure somebody has found a way with all the printers to get a design from Design Space to a printer. Maureen, okay, most printers only print 8.5 inches wide. So if I want to make a print for a 10-inch wind spinner, I have to piece my design. What is the best way to do this? Oh, Maureen, this is something that I hate. And I tell you why. A lot of people can piece together designs using 2 sheets of paper and it looks great. I find it to be very challenging and very time consuming because you have to have it, it has to be perfection. So and I know that this is not the best advice. I mean, I would just say I would upgrade to a larger printer, or I would get, if you have a Sawgrass, I know you can, I know you can get an attachment on the back that lets you feed in longer sheets of paper. That is not the advice that you wanted. I know it's not. I know it's not the answer you're looking for. Um, but that's the best one I can give you. And I'm really sorry. Let's see. Is butcher paper and brown craft the same? I'm not entirely, is brown craft, are you talking about a company? I'm not entirely sure. Can you use parchment paper? Yes, you can use parchment paper as opposed to butcher paper. I sometimes just go to the store and get parchment paper. Actually, yesterday I was cooking breakfast for my in-laws and I couldn't find parchment paper in my kitchen, and I came upstairs to my office and I grabbed a roll of parchment paper from my craft room and I used that. So, they're interchangeable. Let's see. Um, Can you sublimate on a black mug that color changes when hot? Yes, Stacy, you can. And we sell those at Michael's. So what's going to happen is you're going to sublimate on that mug as if it's white. You're going to wrap your design around it and you're going to pop it in your press. And what's going to happen is as that heat activates the ink, it's also activating the color change. So what's happening is it's going from black to white very quickly, within seconds. And then it's staying white and it's transferring that ink onto it. So yes, you can sublimate a black color changing mug when hot. Okay, how do I know when to purchase ink on my Sawgrass 1000? When you start getting a low ink alert. Now, here's the thing. Sawgrass will print on low ink for a very long time, but don't be caught off guard because eventually that ink will run out. And what happens when the Sawgrass ink runs out is it stops printing and you are at a dead halt. So I recommend when you get that low ink alert, that's when you purchase a new ink cartridge. Don't replace it. Do not replace that ink cartridge until it stops printing, but have that ink cartridge ready to go. So Ryan wants to know, what's the best method for sublimating on dark colors? The answer to that is don't do it. And that is because, like we talked about earlier, sublimation ink is transparent. So it's going to take on the color of the item that you are sublimating onto. If you're sublimating onto a dark color, the ink will not show up. Now, there are workarounds, like there's Easy Subli Vinyl, which you can put the Easy Subli Vinyl into your Sawgrass sublimation printer, print on it, heat it, and then transfer the vinyl onto a sheet. But it's not technically sublimation because sublimation you don't feel and it bakes right into the surface of an item. You can also sublimate onto white polyester coated vinyl. So there are technical workarounds, but it's not traditional sublimation. What's a good printer to start with? I'm just learning. I don't want to spend big money. So I can't really recommend printers to you because I previously worked for Sawgrass. All I will say is look into Sawgrass, look into Brother, look into Epson. They all have positives for very different reasons when it comes to price point, customer service, length of time that they will last. And I would base my decision around pretty much around customer service, length of time it will last, price point, and education that is provided to you. That's what I'm going to recommend. So Gary says, I've seen people sublimate onto white glitter HTV. What's that about? So what that is about is what you'll do is you will transfer your white glitter HTV onto your item. So say a black shirt, and then you will print a design from your printer, place it face down on your HTV, and then press that item onto your HTV. Generally speaking, that's about, I think, 385 degrees for 15 seconds. Don't quote me on it because every vinyl is a little bit different, but that's what I would probably recommend. Okay, we've got 9 minutes left. So how do you prevent ghosting? You prevent ghosting by being careful with how you are sublimating. So making sure that when you have an item that it's cold. So don't preheat an item. Make sure it's cold, because once this polyester coating is activated, it starts opening up. And once ink is applied to it, that ink will start transferring the second it hits heat. So you want to make sure you have a cold item or a room temperature item, wrap your design around it, and then secure it with heat tape. Because if it's not secured properly, your design can shift in the press. And that shifting can also cause it to start sublimating in one place and finish sublimating in another, which can cause ghosting. And we also recommend that you don't, I'm in the middle of a class, my dog, that you don't reuse your butcher paper if it has a design that has leaked onto it from your ink. So those are some ways to prevent ghosting. Okay, Nancy, great question. My problem is to tape or not to tape the bottom of my tumbler. They never seem to come out perfect. Nancy, I have never taped the bottom of a tumbler and I've never had a problem. Here's why I do not recommend taping the bottom of your tumbler. When you start taping the bottom, it starts to scrunch the paper. And that's what's going to cause little pockets where your ink is not hitting your substrate flat. So I recommend wrapping around and then taping right down the edge. Do not tape the bottom. What kind of tape do I recommend? I recommend Sublimation heat tape. We sell it at Craft Express. I think we have it at Michael's. All right, let's see. We have 7 minutes left. What is the best way to print a double-sided ceramic ornament? One side at a time or both sides at the same time? I recommend one side at a time, mainly because it's, you're fine. You're fine. Sorry, she keeps moaning. I'll let you see her while I do this. So I recommend doing one side at a time, and that is because it is really difficult to line up both sides at once and try to press it. That way, like one side at a time, it just makes things a little bit easier for you when pressing. Okay, we have about 5 minutes left. Some people are saying they love my dog and she's cute. Thank you. Some people are saying hi to you and that you want attention. So okay, we have just a few minutes left, so we are gonna wrap this thing up. Yeah, I know she wants my attention. We are wrapping this thing up. So just so you all know, we have a class scheduled for next Wednesday at 2 o'clock Eastern time in the afternoon. This was planned out a little while ago. I will not be able to attend that class anymore because I will have an appointment. I'm going to try to see if I can get somebody else to substitute in for me. So we're going to try to keep that class. We will also have a class on Tuesday the 30th at 3 p.m. Eastern time. That one I will be around for, as long as my water doesn't break. You know how that is. So we'll keep you posted on what we're able to do and when our classes will be. I will be going on maternity leave after the end of this month. So there will be a period of time where we will still hold classes. They'll just be hosted by somebody else. And then I will come back after maternity leave. So I hope you guys have learned something. And I hope that you are less intimidated about sublimation and not more intimidated. If you have any questions, you can email me, Megan, MEGHAN, at craftexpress.com. Please follow us at Craft Express US on every, I'm actually going to pull up a slide to share with you, on every social media platform. Not what I wanted to do. 1 second. Oh, present. Pregnancy brain. Let me just pull this up real quick. Sorry, Nicole, I know you need to take over in a second, but let me just pull this up.
You're fine, no worries.
There we go. So this is all the social media platforms that you can find us on, and we will help you either with customer service, or we do inspirational videos. We also do how-to videos. Education is really important to us, so we'll be sure to assist you in any way that you need. All right. Thank you all so much for attending. Nicole, I will hand it back over to you.
Thank you all so much for joining us. We loved having you here, and we look forward to seeing you at the next class. Take care, everyone. Good night.